Welcome to the endurance series. We're on week 1, and for this week our focus is very much around lengthening the body, front of the body and the sides of the body particularly. When we do more, particularly with running, and if our posture's not so hot, then there is such a tendency to collapse in the front body. So to some extent, the running, the endurance will strengthen us naturally. Yeah, there will be a strengthening exercise, but there can also be a closing in process whereby, as I say, there's more of a rounding of the back, more of a dropping of the shoulders inward, and a tightening in this sort of front body area, front thighs as well, across the front of the hip flexors. So I'm going to be working with those today and throughout the series. It's going to be very much strengthening and lengthening process for us all. So we're going to use breathing practices quite a bit as well to support us in feeling safe and feeling supported through our movements, really. So hopefully that will help. Learning experience for all of us, so take in what you can take in, do what you feel you're ready for, and if there's things that are not comfortable, just back off, rest, recover, and come back. I don't do anything mega, but all our bodies are going to be different. So let's start. So we're going to start on our back, and we're going to breathe. So that's always a good idea. So finding your way down. If your back is happy, then have the legs extended. If your lower back feels uncomfortable in this position, then you just bend your knees and have the feet on the floor so that you can feel more comfortable in the lower back. Try and keep the length through the back of the neck, back of the head, so the chin slightly tucks under. So you choose whether legs are lengthened or legs are bent with feet on the ground. Let the arms be free from the body, so a little bit of space between the body and the arms, just so that the shoulders can settle down rather than feeling that they have to ride away from the floor and up towards the ears. So getting a sense of how you are in body, in mind, in emotional background or mood background. Just checking in, how's the breath? Okay, so we're about coming into the body and experiencing the body so that we can be more able to make choices about what we do, how far we go, how we support ourselves. So that's, really crucial if we want to up from wherever we are now. We need to pay attention to the body. We need to check in. We need to take pauses. We need to recover. We need to restore. So taking this easy, if you like, part of the class just as seriously, if not more seriously, than the movement. And just notice how relaxed your body is. So that would be how weighted the body feels on the ground, particularly the heels, back at the bottom, kind of like around the pelvis, back of the shoulder blades, back of the head. And the arms and legs generally, really, how weighted do they feel? So I want you to, from this point, start to notice the breath, and I don't want you to change it if you can avoid that. There's always going to be a little change when we take our attention there. But if you can instead play more with just being interested in the breath and what it's doing. So I want you to count 10 breaths. So the in-breath and out-breath is one cycle. It might be really quick, it might be really slow, it might change over the course. So starting now, taking in the in-breath. And then just follow it through, trying your best not to change it. And making that the focus of your attention. So that's a practice. So every time the mind drifts off and you forget your number, then come back. Or if you know you wandering away to some of the thoughts, just do your best to come back to the focus of the breath. So any endurance will require us to be focused. So take focus to the breath. So finishing the breath you're on in terms of the counting, and just see how you feel at the end of the count of 10, whether that's helped give you more sense of rest and relaxation, that you've nodded off and it's too much, or any other sense that you have about your body, your breath, your mind, your emotional state, as we take those few breaths. Okay, so that's just a starting place, checking in and being aware of the breath. So now if you take the arms, if everybody extends the legs away, and you have your legs about hip distance apart, arms are by the side of your body with the palms facing down. Okay, so taking the arms overhead and the toes away from you, and feeling the length through the body, and breathing. So breathing in, breathing out. So when you do breathe out, carry on that breathing. As you breathe out, try and relax the shoulders slightly. So there's still a sense of lengthening, but not such a striving that you've lost the breath or you've lost the capacity to change what's going on in the body. So as you breathe in, also get the sense of lengthening down from the belly and up from the belly rather than just lengthening up. So there might be a little bit of an extension away from the centre on the in-breath. And a little bit of returning to centre on the out-breath. 3 more. So these are controlled breaths, these are not just normal breaths, so you try and slow things down here. Okay, so gently bend the elbows, bring the arms back to the side of the body, release the tension in the feet and the legs. And see what happens when you start that process. What happens to the belly, what happens to the sense of the body lying on the floor. What happens when the breath returns. Great, okay. So, this time I'm going to do a slightly different movement. So engage the legs. So that means for me, pressing slightly or reaching through the heels and the toes heading up towards the sky. And then take the arms more into cactus arms or hands up position. Most of us won't feel comfortable with the elbows down. So let's lift the elbows off the floor and keep the shoulders broadly down if you can. That should feel stable in the shoulders. Okay, so increasing the tone in the legs possibly, and taking the belly in a little bit, and breathing from here. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So again, if you can kind of lengthen from the centre up and lengthen from the centre down on the breath in. And a slight softening on the breath out. Okay, so we're going to move between this position and the position we were in before. So breathe in and lengthen through the arms and point the toes. Breathe out and bring the toes towards you, strengthen the legs and cactus arms. Breathe in and extend. And just hold that and breathe out. Breathe in and go to cactus arms and toes up. Breathe out, toes away, arms reaching beyond you. Breathe in, cactus arms, feet, toes towards the ceiling. Breathe in, same position. Breathe out, same position. Breathe in and extend. Breathe out, toes towards the ceiling, cactus arms. And relax the whole body. So just allow the body to come back to its natural state for a moment and see how the body feels. Maybe it feels longer, maybe it feels different, maybe you feel you have overdone it in a stretch, being created a stretch. So we're trying to think about creating a length more than a stretch. So a stretch tends to often be beyond what the body can cope with, and a lengthening tends to be a natural lengthening through the body that allows a more engaged, if you like, sensation for the whole body to just adapt rather than being forced. So that's part of what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to get away from the striving as much as possible, recognizing we do need challenge as well, and how we manage that challenge. So feet on the floor, knees bent. Okay, so we're going to go back to the breath work for a while. So the legs will feel strong, hopefully here from just that lengthening work we've done. So bringing the right knee in towards you and taking the hands to the shin. Let the knee just move away from the chest so the arms are straight. And then bring the knee in towards the chest a little bit. So there's a little bit more relief maybe for the lower back here. So the lower back lengthens here. And then the lower back kind of contracts as the leg goes away. Okay, so what we're looking to do here with the breath is have equal amounts length of breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. So as you bring the leg in towards you, breathing out, counting the length. The breath. Breathe in, let the knee drift away, counting the length of the breath. Let the belly swell at that point, yeah. And bring the knee in, count the length of the breath, out breath. And see if you can just regulate it over the next 5 movements. So it might be 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6 and 6. See how you can do with that. So you're in control. So you might be breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out 2, 3, 4, 5. So you find what suits your breath so you're not straining at all. It's not that you want to lengthen it so far that everything becomes harsh. You want it to be soft, smooth, regulated, balanced. As we take our lower back into lengthen and contraction, flexion and extension. So one more here. Allow the belly to relax when the knee goes away from you. And let the knee drift away on this next one, back to the floor. And move to second side. So a bit clearer maybe on the second side, so you know what you're doing now. So when you've got the arms extended, that would be a little bit of contraction in the lower back, would be your in-breath, out-breath, bringing the knee in. Counting. In breath, counting. So you might know what the count is now. You might be changing it. You might be thinking, oh, I thought 4 was okay, but actually now I feel 5's okay. Or I was pushing myself to 6 and actually 4 or 5 actually works better for me. So you want that movement to be smooth if you can. So we can find ease. So we're not just working with bones and muscles, we're working with tissue, with fascia, a whole connective magic tissue that often is the issue that we need to work with. Okay. So one more movement and then release the knee. On the foot to the floor, whichever way you want to look at that. Release the legs away for a moment. Release the arms. And again, just do a check-in. Anything disrupted, anything supportive? Am I too tired? Am I too distracted? I've got a niggle. How do I feel good? Where do I feel good? What's working for me? Getting familiar with the feedback and with making sense of some of that. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Doesn't, just be of interest what you can notice and leave the other things behind. Try not to judge. So we're not looking for things not working, just being a kind of a witness to our experience. So we're trying not to get too judgmental. In fact, trying not to judge at all. Trying to support ourselves. So judging doesn't really do that very well. It's a negative judge, critical judge. Feet back on the floor, knees bent, hands interlocked and behind the head, elbows out to the side. So you can watch the first movement if you like and then join in with me. So in breath, and I'm creating the arch in the lower back, so I'm contracting the lower back a little bit here. Out breath, the lower back goes down, the belly goes in, and the elbows come forward towards the knees. Let's pause for a second, and then I'm going to have a staggered descent without breathing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So somewhere between 6 and 7, or 5 and 7. Well, you're just going to have to make a judgment, and suddenly you'll find yourself back down. Okay, so you may have done that with me, or you may have just kind of watched to make sense of that. So breathing in, arch the back. Breathing out, bring the belly in to support the lift through the front body. Elbows in, let the head rest in the hands. Get to where you get to, and then start to stagger your way down. 1, 2, position 3, position 4, position 5, position 6, position 7, and relax. Let everything relax for a moment. Going to do another. So breathing in and arch. Breathing out, bring the belly in to get that curling up. Pause for a second and stagger down in about 7 steps. You're working out how it goes for you. So stagger, stagger, stagger. Releasing the head as you come down, and then let's switch everything off and rest for a moment. Let your whole body just rest. Okay, and again, breathing in, arch the back. Breathing out, bring the belly in to support that upward movement to wherever you get to, and stack yourself down. 2, 3, 4. And notice the lengthening through the front body as we come down. That's what the work is about. It's strengthening, it's also releasing and lengthening the front body. Okay, release the left hand, leave the right hand where it is. We're going to do the diagonal version. So again, you can watch the first one. So we're going to press down with our right elbow and shoulder and our left hip. So we get a diagonal arch. And that doesn't work for everybody, but that's kind of an intention. Then breathe out and use the belly again to take the right elbow towards the left knee. And the left knee comes up to almost meet. You can use your left hand on your shin to bring yourself close-ish together. And then we stagger back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and relax. So again, you may have done that with me. You may have felt you really need to watch what we're doing there. Okay, so breathing in, that diagonal between the left shoulder and the right hip. Right shoulder and left hip, sorry. And then do your diagonal. So right elbow to left knee, hand just on the shin to just help that connection. So it's out like the right elbow comes inwards, so there's a little bit of a spiraling inwards, and then finding a way back down. So at some point on this staggered return down, you need to take the hand away from the shin. So it can still be reasonably smooth, even though there's a stop-start process to that. And relax. One more. Breathe in, diagonal between right shoulder and left hip. Out breath, bringing everything into the center, and this sense of coming together and releasing, staggering back down. Stop starting, but trying to keep to some extent a smoothness between each point until you've landed. Release that arm, swap arms over. If you need a break, please do. So, diagonal arch between left shoulder and right hip. Out breath, bringing elbow as you spiral in. Hands can support that connection. Hover and stagger back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Second time, breathe in, diagonal between the left shoulder, right hip. Breathe out. And stagger down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brilliant. Release the arms, release the head, release the legs, and release the whole body. So it's a sense now. So this idea at the beginning when I said, how's the body? And it probably didn't feel that weighted towards the ground. But my suspicion is now suddenly the body is able to release down. And the weight of the head feels more conscious, the weight of the shoulders and the arms, weight in the pelvis, weight in the legs. But there also might be a tingliness or an alertness or a aliveness almost inside the body. So listening in to that kind of wakefulness of the inside of the body, which we really want to get into, because that's kind of a sense. I know it doesn't sound very scientific, but there is there is some science behind it, but that sense of the whole body having an energy, if you like, a sense of movement. So glow and enjoy that movement if you have a sense of that. Don't worry if you don't. It doesn't happen for everybody. It doesn't work every day for everybody. Okay, so we're going to, either bring the knees in and either rock up or roll over, whichever is your thing for the day. Today, sometimes I'm a roll over, sometimes I'm a rock up person. So we're on all fours. And the usual kind of setup with the wrists below the shoulders and the knees hip distance. And see how the arms feel. So we've done some work with the arms in the early days, and we've done some work even in those arch and curls there. So see how the arms feel, see how the thighs feel. Again, we've done work with the legs. We're going to get a whole body experience of strength. So we're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to press through the hands and the arms, so it's like a push-up feeling. We're going to dome the upper back slightly, and take the knees off the floor. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. And lower the knees. Well done. Untuck the toes. Just take the bottom back and relax down if you can. If you need to come onto your back and bring your knees into your chest for a moment, do. So we're going to repeat that. Okay. So trying to lengthen through your bum, lengthen through the hip creases as if they're going back. So like top of your thighs, if that's going back, just lengthen and releasing the hips. Come forward again. Okay. And toes tucked under. Press down through the hands to the arms, knees are released. Notice if you're breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice what goes on in the belly. Breathe in. Breathe out. Knees down. Untuck toes, if that's comfortable. Bring the knees together. Come onto the knuckles. This gives you a bit of a break. Or actually come onto the fingertips. See how that feels. If it doesn't feel good, go onto the knuckles. And just let the hips sway from left to right. So you get a little bit more release down side body. Release for the hips. Some people might not like it. Some people might love it. So just see how that is. If it feels like the back really isn't liking that, don't go so far. See if small movements side to side are better. Okay. So let's, again, either knuckles or hands, you decide how it is for the wrists. Just doing some cat-cow movement. So rounding the back to lengthen the back and let the head descend. And dipping the belly. And looking forward to cow. Moving between the rounding of the back and the arching of the back. Moving through the contraction or shortening in the belly as the belly comes in. And then the lengthening of the front body from navel through to neck. So both parts, back and front, gets a lengthening, both parts gets a shortening. And back to neutral. Okay, so hands back to where they were. And just take the hands slightly further forward. Might work better. I've got my hands as wide as the mat now. So it's like I am a little bit wider than I was previously. So hands wide, slightly further in front than shoulders. So we're going to come forward with the chest to lie down, but we're going to let the elbows go back rather than come out. So that would be more of a press up position. We're coming more this way. So it's a Chaturanga. We're working on Chaturanga for those that know what I mean. Don't worry if you don't. So we're coming forward onto our knees and we're bending the elbows. We're bending the elbows. We're bending the elbows and we're finding our way down to the floor. And we can release the forehead down. So I've got my shoulders back, elbows not so tucked in that everything feels constrained, but certainly not elbows drooping out to the side. Yeah, so keeping them in so they can support you. And I know it's not ace for everybody's wrist, this, so you just need to kind of decide how much you're doing. So from here, we're going to push ourselves back up. So take an in-breath first here. Out breath, push yourself up, keeping your back in one piece. Then take your bottom back. Push back for a moment. And lengthen. Come forward. Bend the elbows. Bring yourself down. Controlled. Take a breath in. Take a breath out and push yourself up. Take a breath in. Take a breath out as you go back. Take a breath in to come up. Take a breath out as you go down. This time release the hands, might need a break. Lengthen the arms behind you, palms facing in. Take the head off the floor, lengthen through the neck. Press down through the pubis and bring the belly in. Get the legs switched on. Lift the legs into a locust position. So thighs are broadly down, but the knees are off. There's a lengthening through. You can think of lengthening through the little toe side might help some people to release a little bit around the lower back. Think about lengthening the lower back, lengthening the neck, and taking a breath in and taking a breath out. Shoulders back and down. Taking a breath in, taking a breath out. One more if you can stay with me. Taking a breath in, taking a breath out, and relax down. Move from hip point to hip point, thigh. Just give a wobble on the thigh if that's okay for the body, for the back. Okay. So we're going to do a bit more with Chaturanga if wrists can cope with that. Sorry, dusty floor. Okay. Sack the cleaner. Right, so taking the hands underneath both sides of the chest, yeah, and hopefully get a sense of extension through the spine. Tuck the toes under, keep the elbows in, shoulders back, and pressing down through the hands, lift up into plank, taking the heels back, push back into downward facing dog. Bending the knees as much as you want. Bend the knees, everybody bend the knees. So you're looking to lengthen through the spine here. I'm going to let my toes, my feet go a little bit further back. I'm coming forward into plank. So there's a domeness in the upper back. There's a belly in, there's a strong legs, there's a heels back, there's a push. And see how you go. So you can either come onto your knees, or you can go down in one unit by bending the elbows. It's sort of like rolling with your toes, lowering yourself down. So you might need your knees there. Come down, relax the head, let the shoulders go back. Let the breath just rest. Okay, we're going up again. So again, you can go on your knees, or you can just tuck your toes under and go up as one, if you like. So take a breath in here. Use your out breath to support you. Press down, either knees on the floor or knees off the floor. Push up into plank. Heels back. Don't. Upper back, press down. Legs strong. And back into downward facing dog. Okay, breathe in here. Breathe out here. Breathe in here. Breathe out here. Well done. So we're going down again. So come forward, forward, forward and towards plank. Bend the elbows, come down as one and bring your knees down. Keep the elbows in. And rest there for a moment. Well done. Just keep a check on where we're up to. Okay. So we're going to go up and come down one more time, and then we'll do something on our bellies. It's a bit different. So elbows in, shoulders back. So you've got that length between shoulders and the ears. Tuck the toes under if you can. Feel strong. Take a breath in. Breath out. Press through the hands. Get yourself up either on the knees or off the knees. Up into plank position. Find your plan. Breathe in. Breathe out. Push back into downward facing dog. Breathe in. Lengthen through the spine. Breathe out. Come forward. Breathe in. Breathe out as you find your way back down. Well done, well done, well done. Release the hands, step the hands, and be free for a moment. So let the belly be free, let the shoulders relax, let the jaw, any tightness on the jaw, the eyes, just let any tension melt away from the forehead. So we're going to do a little bit over the next week or two around Chaturanga. So, you know, it may be that this week you're starting with working on the knees. It may be you always stay with the knees because that's where you're up to and that's going to be best for you. It's much better to do it on the knees and get the strength and the feeling of control than it is to hold the breath all the time, strive, push and shake too much. There is a point when you do need to sort of up it if that's what you want to do in terms of upping your strength. But don't feel any pressure to move until you're ready into that. Okay. So let the body settle and pause. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. How's the body? How's the breath? Where's the mind? Okay. So we've done some work with lengthening the front body. We're going to work a little bit more on that in terms of the quads, which get quite tight, and the hip flexors. So we're working a bit on hip flexors, and to some extent psoas through this movement. So we often do something similar standing, so the body might know what it's doing here. So you're doing your best to have your thighs flat on the floor and your kneecaps flat on the floor, rather than rolling out to your little toe side or rolling into your big toe side. Whether your toes are tucked under or whether you're able to release onto the top of your feet. So we're going to bend the right leg and bend to whatever feels like it's position that you can cope with. Take the right hand to the top of the foot, toes, top of that end, rather than just the ankle, and safely just see if there is space for the heel to come to the butt a little bit more. So you're not dragging it, but you're encouraging an opening through that front thigh. You can even lift the thigh up for a moment to release it a little bit more. And we're breathing in and we're breathing out here. So another breath here. And gentle release and relax that leg away. And just see how it feels in that side before we go on to the second side. So the knee shouldn't feel uncomfortable doing this. If it does, maybe you're not ready, or you need to just do the standing versions for now with the resistance. We're going to do, to some extent, resistance in a moment, but it's going to be slightly different manoeuvre than we would normally do in standing. You'll see why. So second side, so just make sure you're lengthening. Let me just pick that left leg up, maybe this would be better. Bring it back down. Make sure the kneecap is central to the ground. Then let the heel go back. Then release the left hand towards kind of the toe end, and just see if you've got space for the heel to work in the direction of the butt, in the direction of the sitting bone. So you're not tugging or over pulling, you're just encouraging space in the front of the thigh to open up. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. One more, breathing in, breathing out, and release, gently, 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 and recover. So, you know, there's the issue with the knee and there's an issue with the lower back. So if you need to do something now to support yourself with your lower back, then come onto your knees and, so come onto your back and bring your knees into your chest, just to give that sense of release and support. Otherwise, just let the breath fill the belly for a moment to massage the lower back. Breathe in, let the belly fill up a little bit, and then relax on the out breath. Okay, so the second movement is taking the right hand to the left ankle. So it's a diagonal, and then the left thigh will be coming off the floor. So it's not for everybody. So you might want to try, you might want to leave it out, just so see how things go here. So coming up slightly with the chest off the floor, head off the floor, I'm going to take my right hand towards my left ankle, if I can find it. I've got long arms, so I'm lucky. And I just want to check that I'm okay with my back here, and that I haven't let my knee drift out. So I can lift my thigh, now, and just allow my right shoulder to lift as I lift my left thigh off the floor. I press into the ankle with that hand a little bit to create that resistance or get the support I need. And I still breathe though. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out here. And gently release, because that's strong for most of us, not everybody. 3-4 breaths here, so you've got the belly to release and extend. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, relax the hands. Okay, so if it feels sensible and possible, and you like to just ease your way into the second side, then releasing the left hand, which is heading for the right ankle, and the shoulder can release, so the chest is open. There's a strong connection between the hand and the ankle, so you get the support for the strength and the work. You lift the thigh up off the floor, and there's a little bit of a press from that front arm to get a little bit of length. Breathing in. So that was a breath out, wasn't it? Breathing in and a breath out. And release, and release, and release the whole body now. So these sort of opening movements, they're quite dramatic for me. They're quite dramatic because the holding that I have in my hips and my hip flexors and my psoas, at some point you do release, and I'm there now. I can feel a huge amount of energy and breath getting really low down into
kind of the area of the hip flexor, the groin, right down through the pelvis, and I feel a buoyancy there, so a sort of freshness of energy and release and lengthening. But you might feel very differently. You might feel your knees aching or your back's aching and that was too much, or you just left it out because you knew the body wasn't kind of in a place to move into these bigger openings. Okay.
So well done with that. So we're just going to come onto our back just for a moment for rest rather than our front. I think most people, that's more of a recovery position because of the legs. So find your way onto your back, and you've got another opportunity to see what's happening here. So there's something that I'm noticing, and I've probably talked to you about this before. So there's this thing where you release the body, but it's not a collapse. So there is that sense of gravity and release, but there's also almost like a buoyancy in the body that has a lift at the same time. So there's a lightness as well as a weight. It's really difficult to explain, but I'm just giving you trying to articulate some words that might make sense. So earlier I talked about the kind of internal kind of aliveness that you might feel, the tingliness. This is slightly different. It's almost like you're fuller. You feel fuller inside, but you're also feeling relaxed and spacious. And yeah, it's difficult to use language sometimes to describe these experiences. So just notice what you notice. I do more of this than most of you do, probably. I'm not Mr. Flexible, I'm not Mr. Strong, but I do quite a bit of practice, so my experience will be different. So just noticing the breath, noticing the movements here. Okay, so we'll do a movement here to maybe be an antidote to what we've just been doing. So bringing the knees in towards the chest, take the hands around the feet. So the hands go around the side and the toe side, and just so the feet press against the hands. So there's a resistance, and the head's off the floor towards the knees, and then press to lengthen through the arms. It's a sort of my version of happy baby pose, but I know this isn't happy baby pose traditionally, but just that sense of pressure of the feet into the hands. So if you want to take the legs more into happy baby, then you take the feet more towards the ceiling. You bring your knees slightly out to the side and see how that goes. So for some people that'll be just so sensational feeling in the lower back. For other people it will be, oh my God. Yeah, it could be all sorts going on. So see how this is for your experience. And then back to feet away, pushing in to just create that resistance. So for me, this is a stabilizing, and I need the stabilizing, not just the opening. So for people who are really flexible and do that really easily, this might feel like unnecessary, where for humans like myself, I need that stability. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come up into sitting. I did a little bit of a question mark there, but I'm going to come up into sitting, and I quite like a support under my bum for that, so I can really get a sense of the sitting bones down. So that might be something you can do. Find something to give you support. It doesn't have to be a yoga block, so that you have a sense of being able to have the uplift through the spine, relaxing the shoulders around that. Still a sense of length up through the crown of the head. And relaxing what can soften. The spine is the kind of core, if you like, and everything around it can just be soft. The arms can be soft, cheeks, the jaw can be soft, the eyes can be soft. So see how your sitting feels. So some of the work we've done will help with good sitting. A little bit of openness here from the happy baby, maybe. And we've done a lot of lengthening through the front body. So we're going to do a little bit of lengthening through the side body here and a little bit of twisting here as well. So, yeah. So if you take one hand to the side, doesn't matter which one, your favourite, and release the other hand up towards the sky and bend the elbow with the hands on the floor and just see if you can get a little bit of space. And just alternate. Find the breath. So next time we go over to our first side, so I think it's the other side for me, then we're going to hold the position a little bit longer. So holding and breathing into this lengthening side. And release. So second side, and lengthening through this opening, lengthening side body. And releasing. See how things feel. Okay, so we'll just do a soft twist initially. So we just take hand to opposite thigh and the other arm behind us so we can find a natural ease in the movement, hopefully. So if this is too much, then you can do this a twist standing if that's more sensible for your back. So next time we can hold that position. So breathing in and lengthening through the spine. Breathing out, bring the belly in and just see if there's any more scope to twist over to one side. So there's a little bit of support from the hand, but really it's about bringing the belly in and starting the twist at the base of the spine and then spiraling around as you work your way up the spine. Relax the shoulders and the neck. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out, might be more space, there might not. One more, breathe in. And breathe out. Gently revolve yourself back to where you started. And second side, so hand onto knee. The hand behind, lengthen through the spine. Take a breath out so you can revolve a little bit. Breathe in and lengthen. Breathe out. There might be more space, there might not be. You might have gone to your maximum. Breath in, extend. Breath out. Breath in, lengthen. Breath out. And gently revolving. So one of the things that helps me with that one is if I do, as I take a little bit of work through the hand, but only a little bit, I also want to have a sense of that leg releasing down, which gives a little bit more opening up for me. Doesn't work for everybody. Okay, so let's gather our knees in. Just extend the legs away for a moment. And just bring the knees up, bend the knees and then lengthen slightly. Bring the knees up and lengthen slightly. Bring the knees up and lengthen. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we're going to go onto our back. We're going to do some repetition of some things we did at the beginning. So see how it feels doing some of the things that we started with at the end. So some repetition for the end. Okay, so no standing this week. So I know it's a bit of a shock. We'll be doing standing next week, but this week we'll see what we can do with the body on our back and on our front. So coming back down, getting a little bit of feedback, how things have gone with that sitting position. How the legs feel, joints feel. Okay, so knees bent, feet on the floor. Interlock the fingers and place them underneath the head. Elbows out to the side. So we're going to repeat the arch and curl, forward and back and diagonal arch and curl version. But we're not going to do the stagger version. We're going to just lower ourselves down in a smooth manner. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So take a breath in here and arch the lower back. Take a breath out, bring the belly in. Use that support to bring you up forward to wherever you come to. The head be resting in the hands. And lower yourself down with as much control as you can. Easing yourself down. So it's still going to be jaggedy, maybe mine's a bit jaggedy. To come down slowly with control and switch everything off. So everything melts into the ground for a moment. And then we'll do a second one. So breathing in, arch the back. Let the belly swell. Breathe out, take the belly in the back down. Use the belly to support you in that uplift. Hold, and then roll down. And imagine the spine lengthening as you roll down. And relax, everything just melt into the ground. And third time. Create the arch on the in-breath. Out breath, belly goes in, back goes down, and that support gets you forward. As you come down, imagine you're lengthening through the front body from navel or even below pubis as you lengthen, 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 and relax, switch everything off. Diagonal, side one, leave the right hand under the arm and release the left arm. Okay, see if I can get this right this time. Right elbow, right shoulder down, left hip. So you create that diagonal arch in the back. Out breath, you're going to take right elbow to left knee. You can use your hand on the shin of the left leg to create that extra support for the spiral. Return, return, return. Spiraling your way back down to the earth, the ground. And again, just relax there. Okay. So create that arch between right shoulder and left hip. So it feels like the belly comes out, but it feels like a diagonal shape to it. Take the belly in, back down, on the out breath. Think spiral, spiral, spiral. Right elbow to left knee. Use the hand to give you a little bit more support to get up. And then gently release, 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 etc. Whether you're holding the breath, whether you're breathing out, whether you're breathing in and out, doesn't matter. You choose what supports you and switch everything off. One more. Diagonal between a right shoulder and left hip. That's your breath. Out breath, belly in, back down. Spiraling in from the center, using the hand. And unwind, unravel, uncurl, open up across the front pecs and the front chest on the right side. Release the hand, opposite hand. So this time pressing down with the in-breath through the left shoulder, right hip, diagonal arch being created. Breathe out and use the belly to get that diagonal movement, inward spiraling in. Sorry, hand onto shin to give you that extra support, and unwind to release with control and opening. Brain can then get that sense of it's okay, it's safe, you can open, you can release. Just melt again into the ground, relax, switch off, and then second time. So left shoulder, right hip, out breath, belly in, get that support to spiral in, use your hand, spiral, 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 and unravel. Slowly controlled, smooth, opening, lengthening, arriving, and switching and relaxing. Let's do another one, and you're ready. Breathing in, create the diagonal arch between left shoulder, right hip. Breathe out, belly in, spiraling elbow to knee. Use the hand on the right leg to help you. And unravel and open. Think open thoughts, think opening, think opening, think opening, think opening, think opening, think opening. Across the chest on that left side. Release the hands. Release the legs if that's comfortable. And letting the body be. A new body. So see, you might remember how you felt in all the pauses during the class. You may have remembered how you were at the beginning. You might feel more tired, you might feel more energy, you might feel less breath, you might feel more breath. You might feel more distracted, you might feel more calm. You might feel a mixture of emotions and thoughts and responses in the body and the breath. Let the shoulders relax. So to endure, we have to find balance. To endure, we have to have space for release, recovery, and restoration. So as I said at the beginning, sometimes this so-called easy bit at the beginning and at the end of the session where you allow, ideally, things to relax. You almost have this idea of surrendering all that holding that you keep doing. Loosen my fingers, loosen my toes. Loosen my ankles. So you can just imagine that happening, you don't need to move them. Wrists loosen and space in the elbows, space in the knees, space in the hips, space in the shoulders. Space in the jaw. Feeling the breath through the nostrils if you can now. So just noticing the breath coming in and out through the nostrils. And being aware of the flow of the breath. Is it smooth? Is it jaggedy? Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Is it familiar? Is it unfamiliar? So I'll be quiet, I promise, and if you just take 10 more natural breaths and allowing the body to recover. restore, heal. Okay, so we'll just do the lengthening that we did at the beginning to finish, and a bit of a shake out. So let the toes move away, sweep the arms overhead, and lengthen from the belly down to the toes, and from the belly up to the side body. Feel that length. Might feel different, might feel the same. Okay, and then cactus arms hovering and toes towards you. One more. Lengthen away, toes away, arms behind. And toes up and arms into cactus. And then shake out. You're shaking the whole legs and the jelly cake, the jelly in the arms and the legs. Feeling. So just loosen now the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, the calves, the thighs, toes, the feet. Yay. And rock forward, turn it over, whatever way is safe for you. And thank you for enduring for week one. So a little bit of strength there, a little bit of lengthening, and just over the course of the weeks, we'll see where we go with some of these poses, but some will repeat, some will change. There'll be more standing next week. So thank you for giving this a shot, and I'll see you for week 2. Thanks very much.